Okay, everybody. Well, I'm very disappointed in Minelab's new flagship machine here, the Manticore. Definitely was not worth the wait. It's nothing like the CTX. You know, I wish you see a lot of YouTube channels, and these guys that they're basically just promoters. They hype this shit up because they get the machine for free, or they get a kickback from a dealer or Minelab or whatever, or it's all about how many likes I can get in this view or subscribers or whatever. It's just YouTube ain't what it used to be. But anyway, you guys know me. I like to tell it how it is, no bullshit. But I had my CTX for going on 8, 9 years now, something like that. I'm not the type that's going to jump on a new machine just because it just came out. The machine, the CTX, I'm very proficient with it. I've used it exclusively for, again, 8 or 9 years now, whatever it's been. And I know what it's telling me. I don't have to look at the screen, at the numbers, at the sensitivity. It's one machine. I can do all, tweak a couple settings on it, or a couple things, hit a couple buttons, I'm ready to go. Well, the Manticore came out, so I'm like, okay, it's crossed between a CTX and an Equinox. Now, I heard a lot about the Equinox, a lot of people use them, but I felt like the Equinox wasn't for me until I saw the Manticore come out. And I heard it was a lot like the Manticore. Now, the CTX is a heavy machine, and I know the Equinox is a lot faster than the CTX, but I still didn't pull the trigger on the Equinox until this Manticore came out. I'm like, all right, lightweight, extra fast recovery speed, I'm getting it. So on the waiting list, finally received mine. Reading up on it, I know there's going to be a learning curve. Now, the moron addicted to sheeps in the UK, I even advised him, I'm like, why don't you put out a video until you know the damn thing before you start telling people how good it is and this and good it is and that. And he didn't like that. Addicted to sheeps. Why don't you go read your Prince Harry book for the 19th time? But anyway, don't believe these YouTube fucking people because they're full of shit. Now, you'll see test gardens. Now, you guys know damn well that a coin or an object that's buried in the ground for 100 years is going to be different and sound different than digging a hole and plopping it 8 inches in the ground. Same with air test. It's just not the same. But this Manticore has a falsing problem. Now, I know I don't have time on it. I probably only got about 4 hours on it, not even. It's an iron magnet. The thing sucks. I hate it. Now, I heard that Minelab might be doing an update on it. I hope they do because I'm getting ready to sell this thing, even though I just got it. But I'm going to show you. Now, at least with the CTX, I know what I'm hearing. I know what it's telling me. And I know that I haven't learned this thing, and there's tricks to it. But I'm also reading that the way to escape all this iron falsing is to add discrimination and all that. Well, there's only one problem. I like to run my machine wide open, and the reason for that is not only to hear everything, but you got more discrimination. It's just like your laptop at home. The more tabs you got open, the slower your computer's going to be. Well, it's no different than these machines. The more discrimination, the less depth you're going to get. I like to run this thing hot. I like to run wide open so I can hear everything, so I'm not masking good targets because it's discriminated over something next to it. So anyway, it's a great machine. It's lightweight. It's super fast. They say that it's supposed to be an EMI. It's supposed to be the best in EMI. It's supposed to run real quiet. Well, that's not true either, because where I was hunting, it's full of iron. It's an old wooded area, and there's power lines nearby. Now, a little bit more quieter than the CTX. Yeah, but don't believe that hype either. It's still chattery as fuck. It's still, you hear it. I like to hear things with my ears. I don't want to be looking at this machine. The only bad thing about this Manticore is, well, it doesn't have, you don't have an auto sensitivity option, so you constantly have to manually adjust it, which isn't a big game changer, but I would wish they would have put that option or that feature in the machine. But I got these two running side by side, the quietest that I can get them. I turned the sensitivity down on both of these and manually noise canceled them down so they wouldn't fight each other. So this is what I dug yesterday. Now with this 30-30, yes, it falses too, but usually I'll get a short false one way. If I turn 90 degrees on it, it'll let me know it's all iron. Well, not this guy here. This here is what I pulled out yesterday with this. Now listen. Sounds like a good tone, doesn't it? Now, I don't give a shit about what the number says now. Even both ways, 90 degrees, up and down. Good sound, right? Now listen to this, my CTX. Hear that iron grunt in there? That's how I know this is iron. Same with this piece. Both ways. That's a good damn sound. You would dig that. Especially if you're a gold hunter like I am. I like looking for gold rings at the beach. CTX. Hopefully you can hear that damn... Let me shut this dryer off. So I had to put my wash and dryer upstairs. I'm remodeling my basement, but hopefully you guys can hear better. Same thing, iron, both ways. Hear that short false in there, but I know it's iron. You can hear the iron. Here you can't. No grunting at all. This bent nail here. It might be a little questionable to dig it, but at least you know it might be a coin next to iron, but it's probably going to be iron. This, it just, especially this head on this. That's iron all day long. Same with this. Obviously, I run this in Ferris coin mode combined, and this I have on the settings everybody's using, typical settings. But yeah, out of the box, this thing sucks. So this Manticore definitely has an iron falsing issue. Again, I'm not the one that's going to jump on the bandwagon for a brand new machine, but I did want something a little faster, something like the CTX. I mean, the technology, I mean, unlike a Garrett, I mean, it's compared to, say, you know, a 1970 Dodge Challenger against a 2022 Dodge Challenger Hellcat. You're going to get better performance, better handling, better horsepower. And it's the same with this machine, but it just... They have an issue with it. They need to fix it. They need to address it. I don't care how much I tweak this thing. I don't want to be notching a bunch of horse shit out and miss a bunch of good targets because I got to constantly look at this, at the screen and play with the discrimination. I want to run this thing wide open. I don't want any discrimination on this thing. That's how I run the CTX. If you guys put a little more of the CTX in this Manticore, you would have a grade A machine. The top of the line, the best of the best. But, you know, we just get a glorified Equinox here with this Manticore. I'm sorry, that's what I think it is. I know the Equinox, they did some updates on it. I don't know what what they were. The only one thing I do say is positive is this thing is 100 times faster than the CTX in recovery speed. I mean, I knew that was going to be, a thing with it, and this thing would be a game changer if it didn't iron false in the iron. Compared to the CTX, there's no comparison. The Manticore is much faster in recovery speed than the CTX ever will be. It's too bad the CTX is just too damn heavy, especially when you're in the water all day. That's the one reason I wanted to go with this Manticore, but you know what? Unless they do an update and fix it, I'll be trading this thing in for a CTX or selling it and buy another CTX. So you guys are on the waiting list for a Manticore, keep me in mind because I might sell you this one. But that's all I got to say. Don't believe all the hype and all these other YouTube guys that just want, likes and views and subs, and they get the shit for free, and they want kickbacks from it. They're biased. So don't buy the Manticore unless they do an update, or don't buy it until after at least over a year, until people learn to use it and they tell you what's good, what settings are good, or if they fixed issues with it. And there's a couple other things that I'm not really crazy about this machine also. I'll show you here. Now, for some reason, this seems to loosen up all the time and the coil gets real floppy. You can't, there's no happy medium. You tighten it too tight and it's too stiff, and then you loosen it a little bit to where it stays for you, and this ends up loosening up from constantly going back and forth. I don't know what the remedy this is going to be, but it's just, hopefully they come up with a better type of bushing or something. And then these wireless headphones. I didn't bring the wire with me to see how much of a difference it would be, but I feel like I'm hearing feedback when I run it wireless mode. I don't know if anybody else is like that. Again, I listen through my ears. I don't look at the numbers on the screen. I'm not, I don't dig by numbers, I dig by sound. And I have my ears trained with that CTX. And I noticed that the wireless module for the CTX, I was getting like the same thing in a lot of areas, so I stopped using it. And I hear that with these. These are very comfortable headphones, no doubt, but right away, as soon as I turned them on, put them on, and used it, I can feel myself hearing some kind of feedback. Like if I'm hearing the machine on without the headphones, it's kind of weird. But again, I didn't bring the wire with me, so I think that might be the case. I'm just hearing a little bit of feedback, which I don't like. So I'll probably, if I do use it again, I'll use the wire. Pretty much this is going to sit in the corner as a backup until they do the update. I feel like I'm missing too many good targets. Yeah, and this issue here I don't like. It seems to loosen up. It seems like it's a better design than the Equinox, but it just, there's no happy medium to it. You can't tighten it, over tighten it, and you can't keep it too loose. So I constantly have to stop and tighten this. And again, the feature with the there's no auto sensitivity on it, which isn't a deal breaker, but you're constantly looking at the screen, which I don't want to do. Other than that, I know you can adjust the tones on it, but right out of the box, everything sounds like crap. Everything sounds like shit. It hits iron like a magnet. It makes all iron, even a big railroad spike I saw laying by the railroad tracks. I went over it, and it was a good tone all the way around, 90 degrees and everything. Unlike the CTX, where it either overload or tell me it's iron. This thing doesn't. So they definitely need to update this thing. I wish YouTube guys would quit hyping this damn thing up and quit lying about it and saying, it can do this and this and this right out of the box. They got to fix this falsing issue. That's one thing I noticed right away as soon as I started with it. I knew I was going to have issues with the sounds and the tones that I'm going to have to learn, but the falsing issue is just, it's unusable. You know, especially if you're a gold hunter, I mean, you're going to hate it. You know, and I don't do people's front yards looking for silver coins. I mean, you know, this might be a great machine for that, but when you got a bunch of iron patches, you're doing a field site or a cellar hole or the beach, you know, where there's a good cut and there's tons of iron, you're going to hate this damn thing, trust me. Now, regardless, I only do have about 3 or 4 hours on it, but I've tried all the different settings. I played with the ground balance, the noise cancel. I used different patterns, like for, you know, I used enhanced. I went to normal for the audio, and, you know, it just, nothing seemed to phase it, make it any better. Again, I know I don't have enough time on it, but it just falses way too hard on these iron objects when it shouldn't. So in my opinion, it definitely needs some kind of update or something. So I did everything I can do with it, from reading the manual and everything else, and this thing's just not for me until they do the update, because I don't want to dig iron. I mean, I know we all dig it. All machines do false, but this is just way too much in my opinion. Hopefully Minelab addresses it with, once again, some kind of update. So if you guys are ready to pull the plug on this, I would wait. Highly recommend you guys wait and see what they get worked out on it, and see what, you know, let people get more experience with this thing and see what they come up with. So until then, hopefully this helps. I know I'm going to get hammered on it by a lot of people saying I don't have much time in it. Well, I don't give a flying fuck. So my opinion is that this thing squeals on iron way more than it should. And I just showed you guys with the tests. Again, I know it's not in ground conditions, but that just proves right there. So